Getting ready to start. So cool to see this venue buzzing like this. For all of you that have been a part of Mesh and the startup team for a long time, we've had that buzz in there for several years. But Corona fucked that up, and now we're going to try to create the same buzz in here. So today we're going to do a bit of a double event here. We have one thing we really would like to do, and that is to finish up the building project, unveil the whole building, and a couple of cool projects that we have. And then this is the 6th event in the Tech Town Hall series that we have. So once a quarter, we do a main event within one of 3 or 4 main topics. So this time, the topic is the funding edition, and we're going to go deeper into the status of funding. But before we do that, I want to dive a little bit into the unveiling of this building and tell you a little bit about what we will do after this content session is over. So, ta-da, trommevirvel. We have been building here for a little bit more than a year now, and as with all good building projects, you use a little bit more time than you tell all the members. So I want to start by thanking all the members for being patient with us. I hope you're happy now. I think we have a really cool, great hub that's going to stand out for the next 10 years. And we would love for as many people as possible to stay after the event. We're opening the rooftop terrace right about the time when the thunder and lightning and wind is coming in. We'll serve some food up there and down here. And the whole building will be open. We'll have an open house. And we're finally done with all the renovations. And that feels great. And as a side note, we've actually also renovated digs in Trondheim, and we're done with the renovations there as well. And on Friday, we'll do a similar event to this in Trondheim. So our focus now shifts from that over to the content part of what we do. And our goal is to make this venue as lively and as fun and as inspiring and as important as the other hub and the atrium and the backyard. We've kind of moved over there. So we also want to invite all of you in to do events with us and fill this space with more content and more life going forward. And that's our focus going forward here. So in the renovation part, that's the one big unveiling we want to do. I would like to thank Kravik Jørenland, the main architect that we have had internally for the interior part of what we've done. And then I'd like to thank Sparebanken and all their partners that have been a part of delivering this project and doing it. We've spent more than a year on it. It's been more than 30 million in the project, a pretty important and hard project to lead. And then internally, we've had four guys, actually, typically in the building industry, doing a lot. So I want to thank KK, Mats, Lage, and Ope. Ope is the partner from that side, and he's not an internal part of the team, but I think we can call him that. We've known each other for 10 years, and he's very internal to the team. So I want to say thank you to all of those, and then also a special thank you to the ones who've been operating during the renovations here. So Chris, Sondre, Lage, Amanda, and the whole team here, you've done a great job, and now we can focus purely on the content going forward, which is a lot more fun than focusing on the bricks. So yes, that's great. Takk, Jeanette. Takk. And then there are two other cool projects that we've worked on for this opening that I would like you to have a look at after this content session. We have hung up about 150 pictures throughout the whole building from our history and from members. So the whole house is open. A lot of you will find a picture of you or somebody you know here. And it would be also very cool if you get inspired by it and you send us pictures from the coolest parts of your startup journey so that we can hang up another 100 pictures of that on the wall here. That's not what we want to do. We want to get the soul in, we want to get the life in, we want to get the content in. And the last project that we're happy to be able to unveil now is our Hall of Fame meeting rooms. At our 10-year anniversary, we launched a Hall of Fame. You can see them on the back there. They're at both hubs. We have 15 that are inducted so far. We will induct people going on or continuously over the next years. And what we've done is that we've given each of them a meeting room. So all our common open meeting rooms, They have been named 101, 102, 103, up to 115. That's a little bit boring, so we've decided to change that. So going forward, we will name all those meeting rooms after our Hall of Fame inductees. And the Hall of Fame inductees are people that over the last 10 to 15 years have been a part of creating the first successful generation of startup founders in Norway, and people who have been central in establishing the startup ecosystem. They've all built companies that are worth hundreds of millions, billions, or even tens of billions of kroners, or contributed heavily to kind of building the startup scene. So here we have 6 meeting rooms that we're opening now. If you start from the back in that corner, we have 101 now switching over to Truls. He's the founder of Douchebags. They used that name until they went heavy into the US, and they got a lot of pushback on the name Douchebags over there, and no distributors, nobody wanted to work with them. So now it's DB Journey. I think if he tells the story, it's a much more strategic choice, blah, 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 blah. But it was because he didn't fully know what a douchebag was, and he didn't fully know how English-speaking people would relate to that. So that came as a little bit of a surprise to him, and he had to change that when he expanded to English-speaking countries. The next room, 102, will change to Kjartan, one of the founders of Unacast. He was one of the strongest voices with the strongest, most direct opinions. They could be provoking and everything, but also very valuable and challenging. And for the first 5 years, he was in the papers almost as much as Trond Rybe Knudsen is now. So his focus has shifted a little bit towards the US, and they have a main office in New York. But they're doing good, and he's also coming. Both Truls and Kjartan are coming later and will join us tonight. Then we have 103, Amir, marketer. We've had a lot of great companies here, and a lot of companies that have become unicorn companies. But Marketer and Amir, they're probably the hardest hustlers of all the startup people we've had here, and they're the company to grow from 1 to 50 people the fastest. So he has made an artwork, a big M that resembles the M we had in the backyard over there. It looks like something my kid would make, my 4-year-old. It's not that impressive, but it means a lot to him and them. So you should find him later on today and ask him what that's all about. I'm at least going to do that. The next one is Anniken and Joachim, 657. They started Superblaze, they started 657. They've been the most important people within the creative tech field. And Anniken has also been extremely important when it comes to female angel investors and investing in general, and also an angel being one of the early angel investors. So they have the room that was prior 104, is now Anniken and Joachim. Now it's starting to get difficult already. 105 is the next one. And now we have two great founders with us here and there. The corner room, the first room you see when you come in was 105. Going forward, the first thing you see when you come into Mesh is a pyjamas, which is Jeanette's pyjamas. I'm sure that has an interesting story, so I would like to get that story from you.
Thank you. Let's switch this on.
Is it on?
Okay, so when we launched in New York, I'm the founder and co-founder of Villoid. And when we launched in New York, we had borrowed the house. That was a 7 stores private house in Soho.
Yeah, and it was the grandkid of George Soros that lived there. Yeah,
that was also a fun fact.
Yeah.
And we didn't want to tell him that we wanted to use it as a launch place. We didn't have any money. And so we decided that a pajamas would be great if we had a pajamas party, because then we wouldn't ruin anything. So that's the pajamas we launched in, basically, in 2015.
That's very cool. And when I was at that house and met you in New York. I don't know if you remember, but I remember it very vividly because it was a 7-story house on Manhattan. So I was like, how did you manage to do that? So she's relatively networked and has a lot of hustle in her. And I also met Alexa Chung, which you're pictured with in there. I didn't know who that was, but that's the biggest diva I think I've ever met. She's the Jenny Skavlan of New York, and I couldn't speak to her directly. I had to speak through her manager. So an interesting network, great founder, one of the most persistent we have. The last one, the 106, we've named after Johan. He has been I would say the kind of most central founder in our startup story, and the one that has had kind of the most, he's represented the pay it forward culture in the best way, I would say. And at the same time, started one of the companies that have really put the Norwegian startup scene on the map, Kahoot. So what is it that you decided to put into your room?
I guess I didn't want it to become like a Kahoot mausoleum of me since I left. And I think most of the founders here are still in the company that they founded. So I decided to put up pictures from our journey afterwards that we started in Entrepreneurship 1, focusing on the startup community, paid forward, learned by Anders, and our refocus onto the ocean. Because being around the whole world in the classrooms, we realized the ocean is not part of our curriculum. It's not taught. It's not part of what we're doing. Everything is land-based. Mathematics, everything is done land-based. So that was our focus, and we thought, what if we put entrepreneurs, politicians, investors on a boat? Maybe some of them will fall in love with it, and they have. So we put up pictures from the journey of entrepreneurship, which you might like. And I have to say that we've very much done that together with the Mesh as well. I used to have an office up there for free with entrepreneurship. So yeah.
Nobody gets offices for free. That's fuck.
Sorry. I'm trying to hustle a new one.
Yeah, so I can finish off with, so all the Hall of Fame famers, they get credit, and it's their meeting rooms now, and they can use them. So Johan is the first one who started hustling to get more credit for free for his room. So yeah, there's still entrepreneurial juice left in him. And we have a lot of the other Kahoot founders still being here, around, having an office here, so that's also great. I saw Truls coming in. Are you straight out of a board meeting? Do you want to say one word about your meeting room? I don't think you want to, so, but you have to. So just a little fun fact. So a little flex, I guess we can say. If you look at the front page of DN today, Truls and the CEO of Douchebags, or DB Journey, is depicted now having passed a $250 million in revenue and growing with almost 50% a year. So you have the naked Marbella picture on the wall. What's that all about?
That was actually you who chose that, Anders, because you looked really good at that time.
Fuck. That's actually true. I haven't worked out in 8 years, and that's 8 years ago.
No, but I think we put some pictures in there, and one is kind of when we started to build the culture of the company. It was, paying it forward. We had Anders in there. We tried to do some CrossFit at our events and kind of build this corporate culture early on how we can make this more than just a job, make it a community, not just externally, but also internally. So we have these rituals, and doing CrossFit was one of them. So every time we did our kickoffs, we always went and had CrossFit with the entire team, always. It was very small back then, so yeah. So it worked well, and Anders was part of that. So it was also good with, we started to have our first office here in Mesh. So Anders has been a part of the story the entire time, so it felt natural to have that as well.
Yeah. Great. And that CrossFit part, on that team, you had Jon Olsson, a professional skier, Aksel Lund Svindal, a professional skier, and Torleif Alsan, a madman who wants to be a professional skier. So those CrossFit sessions were really, really, really hard, but a lot of fun. So thank you. With that, the Hall of Fame rooms are launched and usable for everybody. You should ask all of them and the ones coming about the stories they've put up, and start using them. With that, let's go to the Tech Town Hall part of this event. So for the Tech Town Hall, what we want to do once a quarter, or no, that was how I thought of doing it. Now, so I'll start with introducing the ones that we will put up on stage. And the first one, in every kind of dynamic founder startup duo, there is one tan guy selling and being out there and marketing, and then there's one talented guy, a little bit more pale, working in Excel and actually working on the details, knowing the details. So I shouldn't be talking too loud, because my pale Excel guy, Coco, is right over there, and we've got Sandwater's a little bit pale Excel guy right here. And he's going to take us into the details of how the funding scene has developed over the last 10 years, up until today, up until July, and give us 10 minutes of an analysis and a deep dive into where we're at. And then we brought on some interesting people to build on what he says, or challenging him a little bit. I've already introduced to you. As I said, I had to Google all the others and push the news button. For you, I just had to go to DN, and I found a story right away. If you haven't heard of Trond Ruben Knudsen, you're probably new to the startup scene. He's used everywhere because he has a little bit the American mentality. He thinks big, he puts his money where his mouth is, and he is able to say a lot of smart stuff about a lot of topics. Or we're just stupid enough to not go as deep. And then, this is also a fun, kind of a little bit cliche startup story. You have Jon Kåre, one of the founders of Oda, unicorn startup, then going on to become a VC. And what VCs typically want to portray is that they are these wise sages. They go with all their knowledge into the mountains, and they come back with all this wisdom. So, in all modesty, he has put up Amada Blang, one of the most famous holy mountains of Himalaya, as his background pictures for that story. And he's now come down to us to share that wisdom about funding and where we're at and where we're going. So we have a holy perspective here as well. And then lastly, we needed a juggernaut. So we got the one, this story is from 2022. So we had Sandwater launching a fund in 2022, and we had Schibsted Venture becoming the juggernaut, the #1 investor, doing the most funding rounds and also doing all rounds, or all stages in 2022. So Christian is coming in to tell us about how it was to do all the giant rounds that we've had to price down a little bit now. But we hope that he's gonna stick to it and be the juggernaut that we need, and we hope that Schibsted will keep on taking that key position going forward. And don't mistake him for Truls. They have a little similarity in the hairline going a little bit up. But that's what Truls usually says. It's because there's so much activity in the brain that he doesn't need the hair to stay warm. So I'm also expecting brilliance from you on stage. Yes. Thank you. And then I will introduce the founders as well, because we're going to do this in 2 sessions. We're going to do an investor panel after Morten, and then a founder panel to also get some depth into the VC discussion. So as always with founders, when you Google them and get the stories, the good ones manage to get a good narrative out, even in bad times. So with these 3 founders, it looks like everything is just going straight to heaven, even though there are hard times. So prisingen almost double up. 4 verdt en halv milliard, and there's so much interest that we don't know what to do with all the interest. And Geir Atle, it's hard for others, but it's great for me. So we'll get them in to explain how it is to be a founder. From the articles, it looks like it's super easy, everything is booming. I'm hoping to get some insight into how the last 2-3 years have been, because I think there's more to the story.